On most Friday afternoons at the Windsor-Essex Transgender and Allied Support Office, you'll find 13-year-old Jake Smith volunteering his time. According to the Trans Pulse Project, a 2015 study of social determinants of health among trans people in Ontario, more than half of Ontarians who identify as transgender knew before the age of 10 their gender identity did not match the sex they were assigned at birth. Smith was not much older when he realized this and has been on a sometimes arduous journey towards social recognition ever since.
There was this video game that I was playing, and the main character was just a gender-neutral person. They used they/them pronouns, and it was a really cool little game. And I'm like, yo, that looks comfortable. Like, I think I identify as non-binary. And from there on, I was like, okay, yeah, this all feels good. And then I'm like, wait, no, this doesn't feel good. So I went through like a lot of different labels: gender queer, gender fluid, non-binary. I went through a lot of stuff, and then I'm like, nope, I'm just a dude.
The Ontario Health and Sex Ed curriculum, in effect when Smith was in the 6th grade, says that students at this age are supposed to identify factors affecting a person's self-concept, including stereotypes, body image, and gender identity. However, despite what the curriculum says, Smith was nevertheless forced to learn about himself through video games and internet research.
We were never introduced to, hey, these are transgender people, you know, they do this, and like this is what they are. Like, we never heard anything about what trans was. We didn't even get that much information on like gay relationships at all. Like, it was, you know, girls have this, boys have this, there's no in between, and sex is always between a guy and a girl.
In 2015, the provincial Liberal government, led by Kathleen Wynne, rehauled Ontario's outdated health and sex ed curriculum to include education about, among other things, gender identity. And even though it may not have been put in practice in some Windsor classrooms, the reform sparked protests from conservative religious groups and parents' rights organizations across the province who objected to the idea of teaching their children about gender identity. During his campaign for 2018 election, current Premier Doug Ford promised to repeal Wynne's health and sex ed curriculum and replace it with one which parents in the province are better consulted. According to Andrew Dowie of the Windsor-Tecumseh PC Association, the consultation that Ford promised ultimately revealed most parents support the proposed changes to the curriculum.
Government of Ontario recently asked for feedback on the curriculum, and the vast majority of feedback that came in was supportive of introducing these concepts into the curriculum or retaining what was lost.
Nonetheless, last November, the Ontario PC Party passed a policy resolution that puts gender identity and whether it should be taught in Ontario schools up for debate. The resolution was put forward by Tanya Granick-Allen, president of Parents as First Educators, a nonprofit group leading the fight against the implementation of the new sex ed curriculum in Ontario. As a leading voice for parental rights, she believes it's not the job of schools to teach children about things like gender identity, but rather it's the job of the parents. Granick-Allen speaks for local parents like Jason Marcelloni, who, fed up with the public school's non-biblical curriculum, no longer enrolls his son Jacob there.
As a Christian, I knew coming down the pike was the sex ed curriculum, which we are completely and totally against and don't believe it should be taught in schools whatsoever. Well, I believe in that area, parents are the first educators of that. I believe it's a very intimate topic.
Has allowed the community to ride along their journey with them.
While Granick-Allen is trying to protect Marcelloni's parental authority, according to Jace Carver, executive director of the Windsor-Essex Transgender and Allied Support Center, removing gender identity from the Ontario curriculum actually puts trans children like Smith in danger of human rights violations.
In Ontario, it is a violation of our basic human rights, and what we're stealing from our youth is an opportunity to learn about themselves in an environment that's supposed to be safe, around people who are supposed to be safe. And now we're removing a narrative from teachers to be able to support those youth. So I think it's definitely a rollback of our basic Ontario human rights. We are protected under the grounds as one of the protected communities, and to not have any narrative within our schools is actually a breach.
In March 2019, Doug Ford released an updated health and sex ed curriculum that includes education about gender identity in the 7th grade. However, even though it is included in the curriculum now, there is no guarantee that it will actually be taught to children. That's why for Smith, it's important to remind people about the importance of transgender narratives in Ontario classrooms.
Trans people are normal, gay people are normal, and please teach kids about gender identity.